for listening.
Hello, everybody. I am Roger B. This is Locked and Loaded, and you're listening to America's Web Radio. And sitting to my right, if you have video feed, is Victor Armendariz from the On Point with Victor show. Woo. We're going to talk about guns today. We're talking about self-defense.
And maybe we can talk a little bit about a certain vehicle that you have some listeners in Alabama that have a question about a certain vehicle.
Yeah, whatever. This is not the car show. This is the gun show. Oh, wait. What kind of gun would I use to shoot a vehicle with?
Exactly.
We could get into that.
I was going to say, don't pass off talking about cars completely, because some cars are better than others to shoot from, and then there are certain weapons to shoot at.
That's right.
Certain vehicles. So yeah, don't discount the car thing.
Well, let me get into our first story. It's very unexciting. Yawn. Ugh. Let's see. August shatters another gun sales record. Oh my God! Who could have predicted that?
How funny is it that new gun sale records really isn't big news anymore?
They're being broken every month from like February on. We've been smashing these records to pieces. I mean, oh my God! For the sixth month in a row, they've been busting the records wide open.
Couple that with a report that was out this morning on how they cannot keep up with ammunition.
Oh yeah, I got that. I got that here somewhere.
Yeah, they're working round the clock, and they cannot keep up with the demand.
And I understand. We've talked about this before. It's like why don't they gear up? Why don't they build new factories and stuff? Because things could change in 2 months.
If a libtard gets elected, what are you going to do with those new factories?
Well, no, then they can crank them out from 24/7 for the next 6 to 8 months till they pass a law, and probably pay for them that quickly. But if the election goes the other way, then things are going to relax. Everybody will breathe easy. Gun sales will slow down, and we'll have time to fill the pipelines again.
Normally, I would tell you yes, but today's Democrat Party is not yesterday's Democrat Party. And if you think they're not going to come after the guns and come after, which means they're going to go after the manufacturers, they're going to do ways trying to get around the Second Amendment.
From what I've seen, now I've been watching, and I try not to live my life by politics, but I do watch a few things. Like they had in Atlanta this weekend, they had a giant boat parade. Giant boat parade.
It was more than a giant.
No. They're saying it broke Guinness World Record books for boat parades.
There was over 4,000 boats in that parade.
You know what the previous record was?
That was just Lake Lanier.
You know what the previous record was?
What was that?
1,080 boats in Malaysia.
Well, I did see a picture of the Biden boat parade. It was an old circus Ferris wheel with boats.
Oh yeah, that goes around in the water. Yeah,
5 boats that went around and around.
I've ridden on one of those before. Now, have you ever seen the Ozzy show? Ozzy and Sharon, and Ozzy comes out.
I've never seen that, but I have.
And he talks, and nobody can hear him, and Sharon has to translate for him.
Heroin. Hi.
What I've heard is they're hiring Ozzy Osbourne to be Joe Biden's translator.
You're going to get about the same message.
That was something unrelated to guns, but still funny.
What I tell you, Trump man, Orange man. It's going to be a lot of that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
But real quick, over 1.6 million sales in August of 2020 of guns. Now, what they're saying is like 40% of these are estimated to be new gun buyers who've never had a gun before.
That's also, now see.
Which you're showing like 640,000 Americans bought guns for the first time in August.
You know how we talk about the silent majority? I am telling you, a lot of this is part of that silent majority.
I'm hoping so. These are going to be people who now are going to go, you know what? I don't want my gun rights taken away.
I don't want my guns taken away. And some of them are just being introduced to the crap they voted for.
Oh, that's the best part. In Illinois, there was a gun shop. They said, people wanted to take their purchase with them. I go, oh, no, we have a waiting period. What do you mean? I don't understand.
I mean,
you ordered for it, now you live by it.
There were a bunch of Glorias at that gun shop going, what do you mean I can't take my gun home?
I paid for it. You have my money.
You took my money. Where's my gun?
That's right. Well, it doesn't work that way in states with high gun control.
No, because that's the crap they voted for. But I'm telling you, there are voters like that are going to be part of the silent majority that comes out for Trump.
And you may wonder, why would people all of a sudden need guns? Why are they trying to get them? Well, first, we had the pandemic first.
I'll tell you why.
And people got a little panicked because of that. It wasn't huge, but it started. the pandemic started because people thought, oh God, there's viruses coming. I better do something. Let's buy a gun.
Right.
And a lot of people who were still working but didn't have anywhere to spend their money, no restaurants, no bowling alleys, no skating rinks, no other places to go. They said, you know what? Gun stores are still open. Let's go buy a new gun. So, that drove demand some too, I think.
And then you had corporations led by the idiot sports people who funded burn, loot, murder. And so, of course, there are going to be people that are going to go out and buy guns.
Oh, the sports people, yeah. If I want to talk to somebody who's an expert in chasing balls, I'm going to talk to my dog.
Yeah, that's all right. My dog should get paid millions to go catch a ball.
He does it better than anybody I've seen. But this is funny because, and here's another thing. Democrats have been calling for violence ever since Obama. Now, you may wonder, oh, no, they're not. Biden stood up against the violence, last week. I go, it's been going on for 3 months, and this is the first time he says anything about it. Apparently, there's a video out there by, what's his name, Crowder, something like that. And it splices together all these Democrats calling for insurrection, calling for violence against people in Trump's administration or cabinet, like Maxine Waters saying, you harass them, you bother them, you tell them they're not wanted there.
I was just about to say, if you doubt what Roger is saying, just go to YouTube or DuckDuckGo and search Maxine Waters advocating violence. Because she is an elected official and she stood in front of a crowd of people and said, you go to a gasoline station and you go up on them and you get a group and you go and push back on them.
Yeah, she's encouraging people to incite violence.
She said if you see a Trump supporter in a gasoline station or a grocery store or a restaurant, that you go in that face. She said this stuff.
So she's causing, she's helping cause this violence.
Hey, look, it was Barack Hussein Obama who said you have to bring a gun to a knife fight when you're debating a Republican. He said that. I didn't say that.
So much for civilized debate. Yeah, now, I'm sure you've heard the predictions about Biden. He should be contracting COVID almost any day now, which will keep him out of the debates.
Right before we're 3 weeks from a debate, so give it another week or two. He's going to test positive
for COVID and have to be locked in his basement again.
And they're going to try to zoom in the debate. And Trump, he doesn't. He just needs to tell him to go pound sand.
Yeah, say if you don't have the cojones, gonads, cojones, marbles,
huevos,
to get out here and debate me, how can you run a country?
How can you run a country? Are you going to run and hide from China? Are you going to run and hide from the Middle East when Biden goes to unravel all the good that Trump's done in the Middle East?
And if for some reason you're still thinking Biden might be a good choice, remember, he was one of the originators of the crime bill in 1994. He was one of the members who put that bill together.
Look, the Biden and Kamala have put more black folks and minorities in jail than just about probably anyone else you can name.
Oh, I wish I had the quote, but I forgot my phone today. There was a quote that says, I don't like Joe Biden. He's a bad person. I don't like the people he hangs out with. He's just not a good guy. And that was said by Kamala Harris in 2019 of June. So his own VP doesn't like him.
Look what she did. She called him a racist during the debates. And this was just a few months ago.
And now all of a sudden he's okay.
She loves him. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem with having two presidential candidates who've debated a bunch amongst themselves running together. Yeah. It's hard to overlook all the bad blood. Or at least it's okay for people to overlook it, but the people who saw it previously are going to remember that.
Oh.
So
look, all you got to do is dig into a little bit of Biden's history. This is the guy who I don't remember what year it was, but said that he knew what was best for the Negro. And
my God!
Fast forward to a few months ago, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Yeah.
This is the way he thinks. So again, don't doubt what we're telling you here.
Yeah,
Locked and Loaded.
He is going to try and take your gun rights away. There's no doubt about it. He already says he's coming for it.
Yep.
Okay. So anyway, all these Democrats are calling for insurrection. They're calling for arguments to be started. They're calling for people to get in your face. Why wouldn't you want a gun to defend yourself against the burn, loot, murder, and the anti-American fascists?
You said I was thinking of the store. I'm sorry, my
mind
went somewhere else.
A weapon's a weapon.
Continue.
A gun's a gun? No, a weapon's a weapon.
This is
a weapon, a gun, a firearm. I don't know. Depends on what you're holding, and that was bad.
And where you point it. Okay, so moving on.
But yeah, that was just. I mean, Maxine Waters was one example. Well, there was what's her name, Kathy, something Griffin.
Oh, yeah.
Holding the bloody head of
bloody severed head
of Trump. I mean, and then there was Snoop Dogg assassinating the president in a music video.
They made a play of assassinating Trump.
Yeah.
They made you've got
and politicians and high-powered people are saying, "Where's John Wilkes Booth when you need him?"
Yeah,
it's
when
like
you need him.
They're calling for violence against this guy's supporter.
And then you had the Attorney General for Obama, Eric Holder, who stood in front of a crowd of people.
That's right.
And said,
that's in the video too.
When we go low, you kick them.
That's right. They go high, we go low, and we kick them. Knock them down, take them down.
They go low, we kick them. He said something to the effect of, "We're going to kick them."
Basically, he said, "Start a fight. Go ahead, do it." So. Why wouldn't you need a gun now? If you haven't thought about buying one, even if they're more expensive now than they ever have been and the selection is limited.
Yeah, if you don't have one, get one.
If you think Biden may win, now would be the time. If you've ever wanted a gun, now would be the time to get one, because who knows in 2 months if you'll be able to have one.
Right, exactly, because it's and where do you think Antifa and Burn Loot Murder, where do you think they've gotten this boldness to go out and harass people at restaurants, to stop traffic and try and pull
Democrats
people out of
are telling them to incite violence.
For years they've been told that violence was the way for change.
In fact, Biden did it the other day. He said, "If I don't win, cause chaos." I want to bring up something else in all
Go for it.
fairness.
Fairness.
Mr. Armendariz didn't get to it, and I did want to say something.
Oh, that's right.
This thing that they came out with, trying to separate, and I know what separate means, by the way, separate Trump from the military and veterans, making up lies about what he supposedly said, which there are plenty of folks that were there, witnesses that said he never said it. Now, with that being said, there's been no president. If you want to throw rocks at a damn president, you take that idiot Obama and you can throw all the rocks at him and Biden you want. I was in Hawaii at my son's Air Force base when there was jet after jet after jet during the Obama-Biden administration that were being cannibalized just to have enough planes to fly. They couldn't even get parts. And, that our first black president was a joke. And I mean, with a capital J, he was worthless. He hated the military. And he was scared of the military, that people might wind up saying, "Hey, he ain't worth a damn, let's kick him out." And Biden was right along. Well, Biden was in his pants kissing his ass the whole time. So if you want to throw rocks at a president, you throw them at Obama. And one more thing, for all of you Navy folks, veterans that served in Vietnam, Trump, one of the first things he did was sign the Blue Water Bill. You had been denied, you Navy folks had been denied anything to do with Agent Orange because Obama's administration's, well, you weren't on the land.
You were on the seas.
You were in the water. And this goes for the Coast Guard and the Navy. And there was no discrimination of the planes flying over spreading Agent Orange.
Right,
they
carrying
got
it,
the
dealing
boats
with it, handling
just
it.
as much as they got everybody else.
Land, yeah.
And Trump has taken care of the VA. He's taken care of Agent Orange and the Navy and the Coast Guard, as well as many others. And right now, my best friend is recovering from Agent Orange. He had a tumor, a malignant tumor on his tongue, and they had to take out most of his tongue and replace it. And he's gone through reconstructive surgery now and is doing quite well. But if you want to throw rocks at an administration that hated our military, you do it to Obama and that piece of garbage he had for a vice president. We don't want that son of a bitch in the White House.
Well, he's not in there anymore. He's done.
Well, look.
Oh, you're talking about Biden.
We don't want Biden.
I'm talking about Biden.
Well, look, folks, if you're hearing passion coming from David, the legend. It's because he is a vet. And when you try and tell vets that the Democrat Party cares more about vets than Trump does, it's an insult. It is a downright insult. Because year after year, you can go back to Carter, you can look at Clinton, you can look at the Obama-Biden administration. They defunded, they reduced the military every chance they got. They did. You know, veterans today have doctor's choice. Obama didn't do it, Clinton didn't do it, Bush didn't do it, Carter didn't do it, Trump did it.
Amen.
So there is no better friend to the vet than Donald J. Trump. So if you wonder why veterans and military lovers like myself and Roger, why we get passionate, it's because don't try and tell us that a Democrat out there cares more about the military than Donald J. Trump. Okay, Roger, back to your show.
Okay, back to the guns now. I don't know what happened. Did I pass out for a second there? I just woke up and all of a sudden everybody else is talking. Okay, so this is a story that it's not all gun related, but it gives us it goes along with what you guys were just talking about a little bit. This was a girl named Amanda Capes, and she spent here. I'm going to read part of this because it's very interesting how she determines to change her mind about things. She said she spent the last 4 years loathing Donald Trump to my core. Little did I know those years just how the mainstream media was falsely depicting a man who represented all things I had no tolerance for. You know the names: racist, homophobic, xenophobic, what other phobic you can tie to any majority. And she's a gay licensed social worker. And she took pride in being liberal. So before the election, 2016, she weeded out her friends list of all the red hats. That's what she's calling them.
The red hats.
So, and now she's saying she wished she hadn't deleted them. But anyway, so she goes on and she goes, okay, enter MSM. She was watching. During the pandemic, she decided, you know what? I don't like Trump, but I'm going to watch his briefings about the pandemic because I want to get the information. I don't want to miss any of this. She said she never missed a single one of his briefings. Even though, at that point, her perception of it had not changed, but she dug in and watched anyway because, hey, we're all in a global pandemic. She wanted to get the information. And it became clear, time and time again, as she was a faithful viewer of MSM, how his words were twisted so badly and so frequently, she caught herself saying, whoa, wait, that is not what he said at all. Oh my God. So she actually listened to the president, saw reports about it, and decided, that's not what he said. These guys are twisting his words. They're putting words in his mouth. They're making it sound like he said something he didn't.
No.
And then the protests. She watched law-abiding citizens were being criminalized for protesting and shutdowns in the name of public health. What happened to our Constitution? And so she saw them blame Memorial Day cookouts for the rise in COVID as opposed to thousands upon thousands of people getting together to protest. They ignored that completely and blamed it all on Memorial Day cookouts, who are mostly family and friends who spent time together anyway. Why are these violent criminals who are destroying things going free? So now she sees quite clearly the need for the Second Amendment. And is in the process of purchasing her own first gun.
Wow.
So she's seen the light. She saw the media because she watched both sides. She saw Trump speak, even though she loathed him. She said, you know, I'm going to watch him because he's talking about the pandemic. I want to be informed. And she's come to the conclusion, we have been lied to. I have been lied to. Walk away feelings like a second closet I never thought I'd have to step out of. Hey, so all you
another one comes out of the closet.
All you anti-gunners who feel like you need protection, you need to go buy one, come on out of the closet. Us gun-supporting Second Amendment people will welcome you into our ranks.
Hey, you know, most of us libertarians, conservative types like we are, will welcome you out of the closet for pretty much any reason that you're in the closet. We want you to be out in the open and enjoy life with us.
But for Locked and Loaded, it's you want to buy a gun, by all means. And her last phrase, last words on her little speech here were Trump 2020.
Oh man! Look, we here at Locked and Loaded, we don't care what you believe in. If you're a supporter of the Second Amendment, want to buy a gun, we support you. Now, if you're dumb enough to go vote for a Democrat after you buy your gun, then that's on you. But other than that,
or if you feel like nobody should have them except the police. Oh, wait a minute now. Wait, you want to defund the police, but they're the only ones who should have guns, but they're the bad guys. Wait. I don't okay, something doesn't make sense here. Am I missing something here?
Liberal logic doesn't make sense.
I guess not. I don't get it. But yeah, the Second Amendment's there. It's clearly written. There's no ambiguity. Not like the First Amendment, who clearly says freedom of the press, which defines a printing press. Says nothing about radio, TV, internet, blogs, nothing.
The Second Amendment did not say you can have a musket.
Right. It
or
doesn't
you
mention
can have
musket.
a
It
cannon.
doesn't mention
No.
flintlock, percussion,
Clearly states,
repeaters. It says arms.
It is one of the most, if not the most concise amendment there is.
That's why it's so short.
Because because the founding fathers didn't want there to be any ambiguity with that one, because they knew without the Second Amendment you cannot have a free country.
Right. And
You can't have a governing
let's make this
country.
perfectly clear. The Second Amendment does not give you the right to bear arms. It does not give you the right to keep and bear arms. It tells the government they cannot infringe on your God-given right to defend yourself.
See, look, the founding fathers were brilliant. It is a God-given right because man cannot take it away from you. It goes above that. So that Roger's 100% right. The Constitution doesn't say, hey, here's your right to have a gun. It says you have the government, no man, woman, whatever, has the ability or the right to take your God-given right to have those arms, to take them away.
That's right. It does not give you
cannot
the right.
infringe.
It says the government cannot touch those rights, shall not
Right.
be infringed. Your right to have guns is already spelled out. It's a clear human
it's a
right,
clear
cannot be infringed upon by the
right.
U.S. government.
Well, if you read the Constitution, what a lot of people don't understand, Roger, is that the Constitution restricts what the government can do to you.
Well, the first 10 amendments especially are all
that's-
things the
yeah.
government cannot do or
Cannot do.
shall not make laws to, blah, blah, blah. Almost all the first 10 amendments are telling the government what they cannot do. And the Second Amendment, however, seems to be one that politicians seem to think they can go, well, we can just infringe a little bit.
Well, and all you got to do is ask yourself why. Follow the logical plane. If a politician picks out the Second Amendment, why do they pick out the Second Amendment? Because the Second Amendment is the one thing that can stop tyranny.
Right. I mean, can you imagine? Okay, after 43 years, they want to take away the Second Amendment. It makes you wonder, what are they planning to do that's going to make you want to shoot them?
Yeah. If a politician didn't fear an uprising, they didn't fear on being overthrown, then they shouldn't have a problem with the Second Amendment.
That's right. As long as they know law-abiding citizens, and there are restrictions for felons and people who have
course.
history of violence and things like that. And I understand that. You don't want to give a criminal a gun. Although, what was that case where the guy recently got shot a bunch of times, and he was going back to a house of a girl he had raped at knife point, and then they shot him 7 times. He had a knife in his hand going back to his car. They're telling him to stop, cease, desist, don't open the car door, don't go in there. Even his own dad made a speech about not tearing everything down. Don't destroy everything.
His mom did too.
I actually have that somewhere. Yeah. They know he was a bad man.
Yeah.
And he's not dead yet.
No, he's not.
He was shot 7 times. Apparently it's either poor marksmanship or he got lucky. I don't know which.
Well, the media wants you to think that he died, and so does.
Oh, so he can be a martyr. But you can't be a martyr until you're dead.
That's right.
So, but anyway, okay, now I'm going to run into this brief thing here. This is interesting because D.C. has put in place an effort to stop gun violence. So what are they doing? They're trying to go into areas where they think people may own guns and they're not supposed to. And they're going to arrest these people, stop these people. But it turns out the anti-gunners have been trying to push the argument that gun rights are inherently racist, that only white people have guns for some reason. And if they look at the history, though, they ignore the fact that gun control has its roots firmly planted in racism. They wanted to disarm black people, keep black people from having guns, so the KKK could run rampant and intimidate.
The KKK. Look,
Same thing.
The NRA, one of the reasons it was formed was because for black people's rights to protect themselves.
Yes, they wanted to train people in firearm usage and safety and all that stuff. That was one of the reasons the NRA came about, to help minorities who were otherwise restricted by very local governments who had very narrow views of people in minorities.
If you're somehow on the fence in this election, then just ask yourself, if you're a minority, do you want to vote for the party that wants to take away your ability to defend yourself and your family, or do you want to vote for the party that wants you to be able to defend
Right,
yourself. And
especially
your
when they're
family. It's
defunding
that
police.
simple.
What are you going to do?
It's that simple, exactly. The party that wants to disarm you also wants to disarm the police. How do you think that's going to work out for you?
Well, let me tell you this. Although the Klan is not riding through streets anymore. They're not, swinging ropes over trees or burning crosses in yards anymore. But what is happening is there was an anti-gun initiative in D.C. backed by Mayor Muriel Bowser. Now, keep in mind, she's African-American, she's black, and it's attracting criticism because it has been focused on predominantly black parts of the city. So the mayor, who I guess you can call her racist because she's pushing these anti-gun initiatives in the blackest parts of the city. And the laws, of course, the arrests are disproportionately on African Americans. So she aimed to reduce gun crimes by locking people up and disarming people thought likely to commit them. Now, obviously, 1/3 of African American men have felony records compared to 8% of the general population. Now, these are just numbers. I'm not making a racist statement. I'm just giving you the numbers. So the police and prosecutors were apt to concentrate on high-crime, predominantly black neighborhoods. So federal prosecutors recently acknowledged instead of targeting illegal gun owners throughout the city, they focused on 3 police districts that overlap. Ward 5, 64% black. Ward 7, 92% black. And Ward 8, 89% black. And by comparison, 44% of the district is black. So they concentrated on the 3 wards of the city that had the highest black population. So obviously, they're arresting more black people because they're going after more black people by a black mayor. All right, we're going to be right back after a few messages.
I got a message.
Stand by.
Oh, we got a message. Okay.
Yeah. We've got a real case of discrimination going on. Yeah, I mean, it should be taken to court. We have our athletes that we have.
The ball bouncers.
The ball bouncers, we have them that have bobbleheads. We have some politician, we have no politician with bobbleheads. But if there's ever been a bobblehead, it happens to be the mayor of Portland. Now, why is there there's a lot of discrimination going on in that I haven't seen. I tried to buy one for a friend of mine that lives in Portland, and you can't find them. Why? That's discrimination.
Are they in so much demand? Everybody wants a mayor of bobblehead, a mayor of Portland bobblehead. Well, they would make great targets.
Yeah. And
Not that I'm implying anything.
And every time he opens his mouth, he sounds like a bobblehead. And I just think that there's discrimination going on, that we can have them for athletes, but why can't we have? And Pelosi should make a good.
She is a living bobblehead.
I don't know. That's right.
Yes, she is.
So I don't know if they can stretch the skin enough on a piece of plastic to.
I don't think so.
Although
it'll have a fantastic hairdo.
Yeah.
Or blowout or
No, that's what she said. They said, Nancy, what are you doing this for? She goes, blow me. And she put her hair under the dryer and she got blown.
Okay. Well, with
On
that
note.
Perhaps you are struggling to cope with the disease of addiction. If not, you probably know a family member or
They
friend
stuck
that
it in
needs
front
help
of
in
her
battling
mouth.
the cravings and the personal and professional damage done by the effects of drugs or alcohol. Get a pen and paper and be ready to write down the following. These are the issues that the trained staff at the Atlanta Healing Center address and treat every day. Their doctors and counselors with over 40 years of practice in the field of addiction can treat the suffering individual in a thoughtful, compassionate, and experienced manner and guide him or her along the path to recovery. So call 770-696-9862 and speak to a knowledgeable staff member about how you or your loved one can be helped to enjoy a better and healthier life. More information is also available on the website at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
You can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan, and every family will save thousands of dollars a year. I'm Ellen Deal, and if you've been hurt by the Affordable Care Act, you can email MAGA45CAG@gmail.com to see if we can help. Small business owners, individuals, families, and baby boomers, email MAGA45CAG@gmail.com for 3 easy questions to determine if you can get away from Obamacare. I'm a 20-year veteran of the insurance industry and here to help you for all your insurance needs.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And now we're coming back to a bobblehead. Fantastic on. And we're coming up with, could we use them downrange?
I don't want to use any bobblehead of a living person because that would just be bad.
I mean, we would get.
No, I think the bobblehead should include a big pile of horse poop with the bobblehead on top, so you wouldn't have to do a different body for each one of them.
Absolutely.
You just have to put the head on top of the pile of poop, and that would be the bobblehead.
I think this is great, and we're giving our idea away, but it's a great idea. You have this.
If you use the idea, send us a freebie. We'll put it on the desk here.
Right, and we'll take 20%.
Let's see. Let's see. The mayor of Portland, the mayor of Seattle.
Oh yeah, Chicago,
Nancy Pelosi,
Pelosi,
New Jersey,
Schiff,
New York,
definitely Schiff.
Adam Schiff.
What about Cuomo or?
You put these guys on a pile of dung, and let their head bobble while they spew their. I mean, this is
Blasio.
perfect.
We don't want
Blasio. I think we're onto something here.
Yeah,
this is great,
folks. If you'd like to support us, just give us a call or email us, GM at America's Web Radio, or Victor or Roger at America's Web Radio, and we'll pursue this all the way to the end.
Now, I would like to say, if you would like your message put out during our show, by all means, email one of us, tell us what message you want, and we can arrange something. We have ad spots available now, so don't sit back and think they're all full. We have some available now, so step forward, put your name up there, put your business out there, and let us show you how much exposure you can get.
Yeah.
Because we will strip you naked and expose you all over the place.
All over the place. Everywhere.
No, just kidding. That was actually
Hey, folks, I have
serious.
to put up with it daily. You only have to put up with it once a week.
2 hours a week.
Okay, back to Locked and Loaded. There was an ammo shortage going on. Gee, there's a surprise.
There's a surprise.
So they created a boom for ammo sales, but now there's no ammo left to buy, and it's creating a problem for gun stores that have no inventory. The guns are running short, the ammo's running short, running out of everything.
Everything. They really
So
are.
it may be time to start looking at knives, swords, bows and arrows,
Slingshots.
stuff like that. Yeah, any kind of weapon at this
look,
point.
I'm telling you, it's like I told Cousin Mark.
Skateboards?
Skateboard, well, according to Antifa, or Burn, Loot, Murder. But no, it's like I was telling Cousin Mark up in New York, where he can't have a gun. Go out and get yourself a paintball gun. In fact,
You can.
Well,
It just
you gotta go through.
it requires a 60-page form and a $300 fee just to purchase. That's just to purchase a handgun. You can buy rifles and shotguns.
Let me tell you something. You want to see something great? Go. You probably have to DuckDuckGo search this, but there is a guy who probably lives in New York because he was armed with a paintball gun. He had video surveillance around his house. A guy came up and started peeing on his Trump sign.
Ooh.
This guy opened the door with his paintball gun, popped the light on, and lit this guy up with paintballs.
I saw that. It chased him off the lawn.
He aimed waist down, and he probably put whelps all over the ass of this guy.
As he was running away.
Hopefully he hit the front. And this guy took off. A few yells, but he took off because, folks, a paintball will hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And you freeze them, they will really hurt. I mean, they will hurt.
You all are knowledgeable, up-to-date folks.
Where'd you ever get that idea?
Some things.
No, I have a neighbor, and
Can't prove it.
I go by, and I'm going to stop one of these days, but maybe it's a thing that's happening that I don't know about. But he's put blue lights on his porch, and
That would seem like to support Blue Lives Matter.
yeah, Blue Lives Matter, Police Matter.
I was in North Georgia this weekend, Dahlonega in the square, and they were having a Blue Lives Matter support the local police band. Had a band playing and people gathering. It was great.
I think that's super.
Teach kids that respect police officers, Because sure, there are bad ones. There are bad doctors. There's bad cops. There's bad politicians.
But there are no bad radio people.
Actually, I don't know if
not on this station.
I don't know if there's any good politicians. So one place where the bad may outnumber the good.
CNN might be the exception to that, though.
Oh, yeah. See, you can't say all. That's why I never say all. I say some, most, a majority of.
Majority.
Anonymous.
But now, I did not get this out in time for last week because this past weekend, this is brilliant. Louisiana had a Second Amendment state sales tax holiday, meaning if you bought any guns, any ammo, or crossbows, archery equipment, rifle scopes, optic glasses for shooting, all these hunting and sportsman's type stuff, there was no sales tax paid on it from Friday to Sunday at midnight, I think. Yeah. There we go. Yes, that is brilliant.
Worthy of applause.
This was done a few years ago, and then when they ran into a budget shortfall in 2019, they took it away. But because some good, hardcore Second Amendment supporting Republicans, it says in this article, pushed back and got the holiday reinstated for this year.
Excellent.
So, and they were just saying, basically, if you increase the sales, you're going to increase taxes eventually because more people will come into the area. They'll buy stuff. They'll go hunting here. They'll spend money at the local Quick Marts and local whatever, dollar stores or whatever, and they'll get that money back.
Do they have ammunition for the weapons?
I don't know. I mean, they had some, I'm sure, but just not a lot of ammunition anywhere to be found. Ammunition is, they're selling it as fast as they can crank it out. And you may wonder, why don't these companies gear up? Because things could change in a couple months and they'd be sitting on new factories that have to lie dormant because the demand has dropped off. Because everyone's stocking up now. They're going to be shooting that for quite a while if things settle down. If they don't settle down and go the wrong way in the election in November, if we elect somebody who's anti-gun in November, then chances are prices are going to remain high, supply will be decimated, and it's going to be tough to find it. Now, the biggest thing now is if you can find big box stores, a lot of them have contracts with ammo companies, so they get a regular supply and regular shipments in throughout the year. And they usually hold prices pretty steady to what they originally agreed to sell it for or buy it for. And they may mark it up a little bit. But the small guys who are getting it in, having to pay big money for more ammo, have to charge more.
Well, we could take on the philosophy of Barney Fife.
Just one bullet per person?
There's
a shark on the line.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
We might have to take this.
Let's get him in. Let's get him in here. Let's get him in here. Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold tight because we've got
Mark the
Shock from New York, who apparently is on the line. We're gonna work
on getting that to work.
We're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna get this call here from Mark the Shark, folks. If you haven't heard Mark the Shark, he lives in the middle of Ground Zero of New York, up in Long Island. And we're going to have him on, and he can give us an update on the craziness that is New York. And we will see. We will ask together and see if Mark has bought his paintball guns and if he's loaded up on paintball ammo.
He asked me about tear gas paintballs and solid nylon paintball, solid nylon balls to feed into
a Mark the Shark.
There are options.
We understand that you can't even carry your gun around with you.
Hello, Mark. Are you there?
Hey.
Hey. You are.
I barely hear you guys, but you're there.
Hopefully
okay.
Legend Dave is working on it now, so you should be able to hear us loud and clear here shortly.
Yeah, we're gonna get you pumped. We're gonna get the volume pumped up, yo.
There we go.
Okay, there. You just fixed it.
So, Mark, our listeners are dying to know: do you and have you loaded up on your paintballs and your guns?
We have, but however, there's a massive shortage of CO2.
Ah, crap.
So I may have to switch to compressed air.
They find a way. Hey, you know what? We here at Locked and Loaded just may have to send you some CO2.
Yeah,
there you go. I'm telling you.
Somewhere.
Well, put it this way. It's now legal in New York to shoot children, but what you have to do is just lead them a little less than adults.
Now, Mark,
It has just become so outlandishly crazy.
Mark,
You cannot eat in a restaurant in New York, but you can shoot kids.
oh, well, that takes all the fun out of eating.
You know, it just amazes me as what's going on, not only in the nation, but Rochester, New York, New York City. It's okay to protest. It's okay to go out and kill people. It's okay to shoot up a neighborhood. But don't go out and have a Trump rally.
Or have a hot dog.
Or have a, you know.
Right. You cannot eat indoors, but you can kill people outdoors.
And don't you dare have a cookout.
Mark, what did you think of our Mayor Bobblehead idea?
You know, the only thing is you're going to have to do something different for Pelosi because it's going to have a two faces.
Well, we
And
could
you may
do
have
that
to
sort
do a little
of,
hairdo
you
on
know,
the
we
top.
could do that sort of a, the movie, they're not the movie, but the play where the guy had,
No, we can do this because
Yeah.
if you think of the Batman series, there is a criminal called Two-Face. And he
Well, you
had
look at
two
it this way:
faces.
is
we can do it.
how do you know? How does that go? How do you know Pelosi's lying because she's speaking?
Lips are
Her
moving.
Botox is leaking. I mean, her lips are moving.
we could have her as Phantom of the
Phantom
of the house.
I
Phantom
mean,
of the
I
House.
was assuming before this, which was really eye-opening to me, is I was assuming her hair was done by a 3D printer. So I was really pleased to know that that's not correct.
So her sitting under a blow dryer saying baloney was not
Conspiracy theories
accurate.
are wrong on that one.
Now I have a question. Have you been to the Big Island anytime in the last couple months? I've heard and seen video of like every store being boarded up and nobody on the streets and everything abandoned.
It is kind of like Afghanistan, except Afghanistan's a little nicer because they have open markets.
Oh my God! Yeah, because I've heard that the guy was driving around and he showed videos of like every business boarded up, closed down, shut down.
It is, I can tell you there are approximately 25,000 restaurants in New York City that are closed, and they have apparently just sued. And what's going to happen is the same thing that happened with the gyms, is maybe a day or two before the hearing is supposed to be on the injunction,
They'll
they're
change
going
it.
to cave because there's no science. Follow the science.
Oh, the science.
Now let me tell you something. Idaho, as a state, has just dropped all their COVID restrictions, and things like that. So now in Idaho, there's no
Good for them. They're
no
back to
mandatory social distancing.
Well,
no
they're
mandatory
obviously
shutdowns.
not communist then. Why is that?
normal. They are not. Well, it's like I was saying earlier in my show. I went to an establishment last night that had dropped all restrictions, and it was glorious.
I know.
And I'm
it's
not
great.
going to name the establishment because I don't want them to be inundated by burn, loot, murder, and Antifa. But it is nice to see there are red states now. Mark, unfortunately, you live in, like I said before, ground freaking zero.
The bluest of the blue.
Man, I don't. I keep telling you, Roger and I will come up and help you move. We will help you come down to the red.
Well, based on the fact that everyone is fleeing New York City now, I understand my price for my house has gone up significantly.
Really?
And it may pay to get out of here now before the taxes to create the $100 billion deficit might go into effect.
I know. I mean, how can they survive without collecting sales tax?
They
It's
can't
crazy.
collect. Why? Because they think that if Biden gets in, he's going to bail them out, and they're correct.
Yeah,
Biden
probably
will give
so.
them his $100 billion.
Oh, yes. Every blue state right now thinks they're going to get bailed out. That's why they're pushing. One reason they're pushing for Biden so much. But Mark, you're going to have to get out of there before they're going to come after. They're going to raise your property tax. They're going to raise everything because you're losing the producers of New York. They're
And let
leaving.
me tell you something. When the windmills and the the solar panels kick in, and you only have energy to use at your house on Wednesday, Friday, and
Wednesdays.
Saturday, it's going to be a problem. Look at California.
Oh yeah, brownout state.
Mark, you touched on something here. If you think it's out of the realm of possibility that they will do not just roving blackouts, if you're on the odd side of the street, you get power Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you're on the even side, you get Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. That is not out of the realm of possibility.
That's why they made extension cords.
That's why you have a generator.
That's why you need. They're going to outlaw your generators unless you. But you have to have a
unless
solar
it's a
powered
solar or
generator.
wind powered.
But I understand. I remember I was there visiting, and We went to the local gun shop, and the guy was saying you had to fill out like a 60-page form and pay a $300 fee just to get a permit to purchase a weapon. Oh, a handgun. This was only the handguns. The rifles and shotguns they had available, I think, for purchase right then and there.
Well, 15-day waiting period, so they can scope you.
Right. Well, they want to do, they do that here too. I mean, they have an instant check system here, so you have to get checked out. If you don't have a carry permit, you have to undergo an FBI.
What does calling us to be have to do with a weapon?
Yeah. Well, welcome to New York and De Blasioville.
They want to get up in there and look for anything that could be wrong.
If they can find the coin, they're going to take it.
Now, you said the CO2 is hard to come by up there?
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't get a refill on my tanks.
Now, have you been able to purchase paintballs online or in local stores?
I have gotten appropriate paintballs.
Okay,
Excellent.
good to know. So you can defend yourself if the burn, loot, murder, or the anti-American
I
fascists
definitely
come
have
to
the
town.
nylon paintballs.
Oh, the nylon ones. Oh, good.
all right.
I only bought them because they're reusable.
Oh, so you can shoot a
it's
burn, loot, murderer.
environmentally sound.
Very good. They're recyclable. So you can dig it out of one ass and put it in another one.
Right.
Be a little bloody, but
No
hey.
waste except for CO2, which you don't have anyway.
That's right. You're going to have to get you an air tank, I guess. A scuba tank. Probably find one on Craigslist. Yeah, you got to improvise these days. Improvised weapons are going to become all the rage when things start drying up. If Joe
the
Biden,
problem is the police, if they're smart, are staying in their cars.
Yeah, why get into trouble trying to arrest somebody who's just going to get them into more trouble?
Right, because they did away with the qualified immunity in New York City.
Of course.
Now,
is
what
out
does
of
that mean
control.
exactly? What does that mean, qualified immunity?
Qualified immunity is where a police officer could not be personally sued if for something occurred on the job.
So they can't go after the policeman
Right.
and his family.
Now they've done away with
Now
that.
they can.
Oh.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. They're doing everything they can to not only defund the police, they want to just force police into, like you said, staying in their car.
I want to defund the criminals. Can we figure out how to do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yes.
De Blasio and Cuomo want to force the police into writing speeding tickets and jaywalking
They want to
tickets
use them as revenue collectors.
because they want to put so much fear in the officers of being shot, killed, or sued that they won't actually go after the criminal.
Well, that's the whole thing. And when you replace law and order, you get anarchy.
Yeah, complete anarchy. You get burn, loot, murder.
But I bet
And
the criminals have guns and weapons
Oh,
of every
absolutely.
kind.
They don't have to apply for permits, apparently.
Have you
And
seen
since they don't
Chicago
prosecute
lately?
them, there's no harm.
Yeah.
Right.
The threat would be if they continue, if the bad guys continue, they'll be forced to listen to America's Web Radio 24/7.
That's it. Well, I understand now that Barr and the Justice Department may be taking a different route here. And that was very interesting to learn, is they're going to go after them under criminal enterprise. And there's
RICO.
also a law that says you cannot cross state lines to engage in criminal activity.
Absolutely.
And that holds some very high federal time. So you're going to jail, and in the federal system, you don't do 2/3 and get half off because you're a nice guy or because of COVID. You're in jail. You're in jail.
Yeah, that's heavy
And
time.
It's a
Yeah,
federal prison.
That's
Well, I-
They don't take off for being a nice guy after you committed a murder. Sorry.
that's not the Mayberry system of justice up there, is it?
No, up here they're not prosecuting. Up here they're not. By the time the officer is filling out his paperwork, the guy's already back on the street looting and rioting.
Now, I want to ask you something. Now, I know I'm not going to disclose where, but you live in a more suburban area of New York City. So, have you guys seen any type of violence or any type of protesting or even marches or
Not
anything
too
up
much
there?
violence, and I'll tell you why. I spoke to one of my confidential informants in the PD, who advised me that they early on they took different tactics. In other words, when these people were coming to a particular area, they would block off all the parking. So all these people from out of the area couldn't park, and if they parked on the street, they'd be towed.
Oh,
And then what they did is when they figured out a way to get around it, so they were busing these people in. Okay, I guess Joe Biden's for busing or against busing, depends on what
Depends
day
on
it is
what
today.
they're busing.
But what they were doing is they said, listen, you want to protest on the sidewalk? Not a problem. No problem. Step out onto the street, you're going to be arrested. And they started arresting people en masse. And guess what? Very little protesting going on right now.
And I bet they
They're
helped.
not blocking the streets the way they were.
And they helped fill some budget shortfalls because I'm sure it wasn't cheap to get yourself out of jail if you were arrested.
Well, they have the no bail law out here, but it's also it's a problem. You got to go get a lawyer. It's a whole mess. Those lawyers are
so
expensive.
business should be picking up.
Well, no. Biden and Kamala are picking up the tab, so it's no problem.
Hey, Kamala, she has been paying. She's been encouraging and donating to organizations that are out there bailing out these burn, loot, murder crowds.
Yeah, that's who I want as my vice president. Somebody who's bailing out the criminals.
Bailing
Good
out the
idea.
criminals.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I mean that's the tactic they're taking. Apparently, Democrats are calling for this. They want insurrection. They want until they realized it was hurting the poll numbers.
Well, here's the problem. Here's their premise that's falling apart. Is they are thinking that if they get Biden in, that this will all stop. What they don't understand is this is a train running on an engine that they don't control, and it's going to keep on going, and it's going to run them right over.
Oh, it already ran them over.
They hope that if they get elected, everyone's just going to go home peacefully and cease and desist
Right, well,
and
that's
walk
the
away.
CNN narrative,
They
but the
won't,
reality
right.
is these people are not
That's-
going home.
that's what they're
these
trying to
people
get
figured
you
out
to.
already. They can take over whatever they want.
They're
Yeah.
being if you give criminals any leeway, they will be emboldened and emboldened and emboldened, and that's what's happening. And you see the narrative. The
Look
Biden
at the difference,
is,
and I hate to use the term Democrat and Republican mayors and governors. Look at the difference in those states.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
those
of
cities,
course.
those states. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, there's no doubt.
In
And I
fact,
don't-
a lot of patriot groups they're calling themselves patriot groups are coming out to protect these cities, towns,
Businesses
statues, businesses.
and, yeah.
They're coming out to protect these people from the burn, loot, murder crowd and the anti-American fascists.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I saw what went on the other day in Rochester. They actually come onto the premises of a restaurant that was struggling first to get open, and now is trying to make back some money. And, it's a losing battle. And these people are coming in and trashing the restaurant and literally sitting in somebody's face and yelling at them.
And harassing the
that technically is an
patrons.
assault.
Yeah, I would think
You
so.
can defend yourself.
Oh, absolutely. They were doing it in Pennsylvania over the weekend also.
I think a stun gun would be really convenient there because you could hide that
Well,
pretty good.
unfortunately, in New York, can't exactly have one.
Well, as long as no one sees it, you know.
Listen, it's
They're
not
not
a
gonna
crime
arrest
unless you
you.
get caught. Just
That's
look at
right.
BLM.
Yeah.
No, it was that guy. Or just drop it and drop it in one of the
I took
protesters'
it off of
pockets.
them.
You drop it in one of the protesters' pockets after you use it a couple times.
Yeah, there you go.
You go, he had it. It was
He
in his
had
pocket.
It. It's his. Oh.
Listen, if somebody comes in my face and yells at me, they're going to get something for it.
Well,
It's not going to be a thank you.
I hope you have a look.
Now, you could even use a high-powered flashlight. Would be very helpful in that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, they have lasers, though, that they're using. That's really
Well,
intelligent.
that's
Permanently blinding law enforcement, that's brilliant.
Yeah. See, those people need to be prosecuted
said,
to the
you-
fullest extent of the
you
law.
think
The
That's
problem is the first time somebody brings a laser to a protest, they go to jail for 5 years.
yeah. That should be a no holds barred, no
That is
leeway.
considered. That is a weapon that can do bodily injury.
Yeah, permanent damage, permanent injury.
New York used to have the bring a weapon, spend a year in jail.
Okay, but
But
now
if you don't prosecute people anymore, what's the difference?
yeah, they just have a revolving door on the courthouse now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's insane.
So I guess,
It's insanity run by the loony left.
so the thing would be to check with your local ordinances and see if, or local police department, see if they're trying to prevent these things from going on in your city, your town, your county, or if they're allowing this to go on. That would help determine what kind of preparedness you'd have to have for possibilities.
Well, my question is, and research needs to be done on this, is whether or not, and I know there's a lot of, it's interesting because mayors and governors have qualified immunity. They can't be sued for the stupid decisions they make.
Right.
But a police officer, they want to be sued for stupid decisions they make. It's
Yeah.
the same thing with the Senate and the Congress. They can lie, they can cheat, they can steal, and they have qualified immunity. But take it away from the officers who are performing the job. They all want to be protected by them, but they don't want them to have protection. Well,
Yeah.
that doesn't work.
Well, you know what's going to happen? The good ones are going to start walking away.
Oh, you're already.
They're already doing it.
You're already losing. I don't know how many
Thousands, I'm
NYPD
sure.
every week are retiring.
Didn't you say they
Or
put a
leaving.
restriction on the number of retirements they would accept per
Yeah,
week?
out
or-
of New York
They
City.
did.
Per month,
they
yeah.
did. Yeah, New York
Because
City did.
so many people are just wanting to get out, take
Yeah,
their
they
money, and
stopped
go.
leaving.
Why not?
And you've got great states like Georgia that are offering jobs to some of these NYPD guys.
Yeah.
They're offering them to come on down. We've got municipalities all over Georgia.
Just
that'll
stop
welcome
voting.
you.
Just stop voting the way you used to vote.
Yeah, just
no,
don't
well,
bring,
the
don't
cops
bring
never
them in.
voted like
Yeah,
that.
I think the cops aren't going to. Boy, I'll tell you what, Mark. Have you ever seen the FOP basically on a countrywide basis get behind and endorse a
No,
president?
they've never endorsed a political candidate like this, but they certainly did now.
They
Well, yeah. I
certainly
mean,
did.
Biden is basically anti-police. I mean, he supports the burn, loot, murder crowd, the anti-American fascists, whose statement is ACAB: all cops are bastards.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see Biden and Trump on that stage, because he did some kind of a
I don't know.
what was supposed to be questions from the people this weekend, I believe.
He never
And
took action.
somehow or another during the middle of the after the first question, or I don't know what the number of the question, somebody asked the question, then he says, "You have to move that up. I can't see it."
Yeah,
and they said he wasn't reading from a teleprompter.
Yeah, he was. And this
But you
is,
hear him say, "You have to move it up. I can't see it."
I talked about this earlier, Mark. His handlers were typing the answers to the questions, and he was reading them from the teleprompter.
Oh, my
and,
gosh.
You can't make this up.
And nope, you can't make it up.
How is he going to debate
This
Trump?
and this is why they're going to come up. They're going to try not to debate.
Oh, I'm waiting for them
But,
to cancel for something.
Now,
No, they're going to try.
do we know how long it's been since a presidential debate has been canceled or not done? I mean, they've been doing it for over 100
We've
years.
Always had debates. Yeah.
So this will be the first time in history.
If they try not to have it, yeah. I'll tell you
Pelosi
what.
already
Biden's
laid it
gonna
out.
do.
Why have him out front and figure out that he's incompetent? And listen, I don't fault the guy. 40 years ago, he was competent and didn't get anything done. Now he's incompetent. What do they think he's going to get done?
yeah.
Nothing. They're just using him as the Trojan
What I
horse.
want to know is, who's the Valerie Jarrett in this
Oh,
administration?
who's the man
They-
behind the strings?
Well, let me tell
behind
you,
the curtain.
Valerie Jarrett is probably very much behind. I'm telling. It's the Sanders. Look, Bernie Sanders has his arm so far up Biden's derriere that you can almost see his hand when Biden opens
You know,
his mouth.
I thought I saw
mean,
fingers in his mouth moving.
I'm telling you. But the Sanders people and the Obama people are really running the show behind the scenes. Biden is merely the Trojan horse, and it's clear when you see a man that is Biden who cannot answer a question. He has to read it.
All right,
Oh,
well,
man, we're at the end of the
we're
show,
at the
Mark.
end of the show. You should have called in, listener, but I appreciate you calling. Always like to
week,
hear about
Fantastic to speak to you guys again. Everybody have a fantastic week.
you too. Talk to you again soon, cuz.
Ciao for now from Nueva York.
Later.
Take care. This is America's Web Radio. You've been listening to Locked and Loaded.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.